loves, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be breaking down the lunar eclipse in Taurus that's happening on the 28th. We have quite a bit to cover. We're going to keep it very straightforward. Before we get started though, really quickly, I am having a eclipse sale. So all of my services are 50% off right now with the code LUNAR Halloween up until Halloween. So take advantage of it, all of the things. We're gonna jump in and get started because your girl's been doing back-to-back sessions and I'm a little bit exhausted, but I want to make sure I put this video out for you guys because I haven't gotten a chance to like post it. So I want to make sure I do that. Bottom of the deck is the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Fool card. How have you guys been enjoying eclipse season? Because it's definitely doing its thing. We did pull some cards. When it comes to the astrology, we're going to start off with the planetary positions before we go into the the major aspects. Sun currently in Scorpio. Moon will be in Taurus, obviously, for the eclipse. Mercury will be in Scorpio, Venus in Virgo, Mars in Scorpio, Jupiter in Taurus in retrograde, Saturn in Pisces in retrograde, Uranus in Taurus in retrograde, Neptune in Pisces in retrograde, Pluto in Capricorn. So lots of water and lots of earth energy. Literally the whole chart is basically earth and water. This is an aspect of this specific eclipse that's feeling right now. The energies are very grounded but emotional, but grounded. There's a lot of emotions, but there's also a lot of there's a lot happening in between. There's also a lot of stuff happening socially and collectively. I'm not really surprised with the way everything is breaking down right now because it's really intense. But we're gonna dive in and we're gonna break it down. So the sun will be in an opposition to the moon. And you know, when it comes to the sun opposing the moon, it's definitely a time where we're feeling slightly conflicted. And yeah, I got to keep in mind also that Scorpio is while it is a fixed water sign and Taurus is the fixed earth sign, there's a fluidity to Scorpio because it is still a water sign. So water is not meant to just stay still. It is water in Scorpio. It's very transformative. So it's not just meant to be used in one particular way throughout this time. And it's really important to not negate that because and so when it comes to the moon and when it comes to Taurus's energy, Taurus is way more grounded. And so because the moon right now, for this eclipse, the moon is exalted in Taurus. So Taurus, the moon loves being in Taurus, is a vibe, is all the things, but it is Scorpio season. And so the ego and the emotions are butting heads a little bit, even with the exaltation. You might find yourself, kind of not really fully being clear on certain things. You might be feeling very clear on, or you might be put in a position where you need to do something that you really don't want to do, which often happens. You will kind of notice, especially during eclipses, they push us into a lot of transformation and a lot of change in a very slow, short period of time. The whole month of October has felt like at least 3 months. It's like a whole journey of the thing. So throughout that process, it can feel very intensive, and it's really important to just still take a moment to reflect and still be decisive throughout the eclipse energies. But there is a butting heads between the emotional energies and our ego. The sun will be in a conjunction to Mercury, and the sun will be in conjunction to Mars as well. So mentally and action wise, we're still feeling very decisive, which actually really came up in the cards. It's just that emotionally there's a conflict there, but mentally we're feeling very no, we kind of feel like we know what we need to do. There's things that we know what needs to be done. And because the energy swiftly moves into this Eight of Wands and 10 of Wands energy, is okay, addressing this head on, whatever is being addressed, it's something is okay, you know what? I don't want to have to do this, and I didn't want this to be the solution, but this is going to have to be the solution because this is the best way that I can think of addressing this situation. And so because of that, there's that vibe of like mentally being clear, like making peace with decisions is really the message that's coming through. Like make peace with the decisions that you're making, because you're feeling very purposeful in the decisions that you're making. And again, because we're under Scorpio season, a lot of our decisions are going to be very transformative for our own experiences at this time. The sun will be in an opposition to Jupiter. So there is a feeling of, you know, well, are things going to slow down? Is it going to, you know, like, is me doing this thing going to then, you know, like, is it going to backfire? How is it going to navigate? Is it going to take some time? Is it going, like, there are questions in between the thing. And you might feel like, the door is like, it's open, but it's not like a whole wide open kind of vibe right now. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and abundance and luck and opportunity and education and travel. So it's like, you might feel like there is you have the opening, but it's not also fully, like, it's not like the road doesn't feel as open as you would like it to feel. And because of this, it puts you in the position where on your ego side, you're feeling like while you're making some tough decisions that you're having a tough time emotionally committing to, like emotionally, like, you know what, I don't know, something about this is just like, I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a drag. If your intuition is telling you like, hey, the decision that you're making is definitely necessary, but there's something about it that's just like going to take a little bit more work or time or investment for you to like get from point A to point C, then that's what's happening. And certain times, especially because we're still under retrograde season, we're still under eclipse season, things are going to feel a little bit like of a slowdown period. So don't expect things to move super fast, even with intentions and manifestations that you set during this time. The sun will also be in a trine with Saturn. So there is a lesson that is being learned right now. It's a lesson that is being like accepted, a lesson that is being like, hey, it's time. You accepted the thing. Like, it is time. That's definitely something that's happening right now. Like, a lesson is being integrated. Okay, it is being integrated, is being like, okay, you know what, did you learn your lesson? Have you learned your lesson? Do you need to repeat this thing again? Do you need to repeat the cycle? Do you need to repeat this relationship? Do you need to repeat this issue? Like, have you learned your lesson? Okay, that's a big one for the ego when it comes to Saturn for this particular eclipse. The sun will also be in a square with Pluto. Okay, so ego wise, we're going through a huge transformation due to the lessons that we are, navigating. And because of that, intuitively, emotionally, you might be feeling a little bit sensitive. Again, even though Moon in Taurus is always a vibe, it's really important for you to do all of your self-care routines. Like, make sure you're doing something for you. Like, watch one of your favorite movies, go treat yourself to, food that you really love. Do something for you, like really do something for you. It's so important for you to prioritize your self-care and your self-love routine during this time, because when you're making tough decisions, it's just really important to create a safe space for you to comfort yourself. That is super important. The moon will be in an opposition to Mercury, and also the moon will be in an opposition to Mars. So emotionally, we are feeling like, especially again, intuitively, emotionally, the clarity and the things that we're having to accept don't super feel right to us. Okay. The moon, like this lunar eclipse being in Taurus, again, moon loves being in Taurus, but it's like, while it's Scorpio season, while the way the chart is looking, it's a little bit of a conundrum, because the other energies are like, you have to transform, you have to accept this, you have to, and then the moon in Taurus is just like, I'm just trying to eat and have a good time and I'm just trying to live and enjoy my life. Why does it have to be an issue? You know what I mean? So right now there's this like, there is a little bit of a conflict between the emotion and the mind, right? Your emotional energies in your mind. And there's also, emotionally feeling like some of the decisions that you're having to act on like having this feeling that, oh my God, like I have to do this. I have to rip the Band-Aid off. I can't just leave it on any longer. I have to do it. Like kind of that moment where you're having to do something that you really don't want to do, but you need to do it. It's like doing taxes or something like that. That's the feeling. That's the feeling. It's like, you know, like frustration. The moon will also be in conjunction to Jupiter. So instead of doing ego work with Jupiter, I would recommend working with the moon, specifically for working with Jupiter during this time. Just especially if you're trying to emotionally feel your way through the energy and what it is that you are specifically, like whether it is you're using it for manifestation or whether it is that you're just looking for clarity, or like especially if you're doing your meditations and stuff like that, this would be a really great time for you to do some meditations if you're needing clarity, or if you're needing like to see things in a different perspective, if you need to accept the lesson in a way that is nurturing instead of like feeling like a ripped Band-Aid kind of moment. This would be the time to really connect with your spirits and your ancestors and have them like help you understand and accept the reason why you need to go, like why you need to understand what you're understanding the way you are. The moon will also be in a square with Pluto. So emotionally, there could be some breakdown on, you know, some emotional breakdowns for some folks. Some folks might have a little bit of a complex time, especially when it comes to love relationships. You might see some breakdowns with certain relationships if there's been like issues, if things need to, you know, have been needing to like work out, or if things have been needing to you know, really like shift and they haven't actively shifted in the right way. There's been like issues there. If there's been, you know, a lot of, especially if it's like relationships, like, and when it comes to friendships, all types of relationships, families, all that kind of stuff, where it's like the issue has been going on for so long and it's like it hasn't properly been addressed. There might be a lot of issues when it comes to relationships for this lunar eclipse, so keep that in mind. Mercury will also be in conjunction to Mars, so mentally we're feeling very clear as far as what is being communicated. It's like action, you know, when they say like, you know, words are cheap, like show me the thing, like actually do the work so I can see that you're saying and doing what you're actually meaning. Yeah, Mercury in conjunction to Mars is actually putting your words, your intentions into action, like actually doing the work. So this is a really great time to, you know, if you're going to commit to something, especially under eclipse energy, trust and believe whatever intention you're doing during this time. If you're making a certain decision during this time, you might find yourself feeling very determined and purposeful towards that thing. So be very mindful of not doing no flimsy type of intentions during this period of time, because it's just gonna be like, Mercury will be in an opposition to Jupiter. This definitely can lead to folks like really mentally, you know, over exaggerating about certain things, especially if there's like, you know, some drama or some issues like happening communication wise, and folks are just not, you know, not clicking like verbally, and there's just like someone's taking it a certain way that the other person didn't mean, you know, like those kind of situations. So be very mindful of not trying to purposely over exaggerate, and trying, like, if you're trying to resolve an issue with someone, really like sit with it, like try to resolve the issue instead of like just sitting in your feelings and just like seeing it from your perspective and not trying to understand both sides. Okay, it's really important to not just like mentally block yourself from understanding. Okay, don't do that. Venus will be in a trine with Uranus, so relationship wise there will be some chaos within relationships. You might see some changes, there might be some breakdowns, some breakthroughs. It could be a this could really be a good time to do some glamour magic if you wanted to do some self-empowerment, because Uranus is all about upgrades and upgrading yourself, bettering yourself, revolution, evolution, how you personally evolve. It's a great time to do some glamour magic. Great time to, like, if you wanted to do some attractions, a great time to do that. But it's really important for you not to, you know, like try to love and light your way out of this, because it's not going to work. Not for this lunar eclipse, not while Venus is in trine with Uranus. Mind you, Venus is in Virgo. Venus is in its fall in Virgo. It does not like being in Virgo, and Virgo's like all about the healing. So like a lot of what's happening right now, especially if you're going through a bunch of stuff within your relationships, it's because it requires healing. So you're going to have to prioritize healing for relationships at this time. Venus is also in an opposition to Neptune right now. Do your relationship readings. I highly recommend folks just do their relationship readings. See what is needed at this time. What does this relationship need? Like, what about your oracle, your tarot deck? What does this relationship need? What could I be doing better? What do I need to do moving forward to, you know, help heal? Blah, 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 blah. How can we better communicate? All of these kind of things. Make sure that y'all are using like your spiritual practice to help alleviate, you know, what you can alleviate. But there's definitely Venus opposing Neptune. There's definitely some lies that are going to be revealed, especially under Scorpio season. Oh, bless. There's definitely certain things that are being exposed. There's certain things that are coming to light. There are certain things that are feeling, you know, like an illusion of sorts. Especially you might discover someone's actually their true feelings about something, and it just might feel like really rough. Again, make sure you're practicing your self-care, and that you are actually trying to put in the work, because y'all, Neptune is always like, when Neptune and Venus are getting along, when they're not, you know, opposing each other, are in a square, there's such a like, you know, romantic, like fairy tale like kind of vibes. But when they're not doing that, when they're like opposing each other, it can be like literally exposing each other, like exposing each other in relationships, exposing situations. It can literally end up being like a whole toxic moment. So it's really important to, you know, work through those type of issues and actually do the work. Okay. Mars will be in an opposition to Jupiter. Do not expect certain manifestations to happen quickly. There are certain things that will take some time. Mind you, you're working under a lunar eclipse in Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign. Okay, manifestations will take, they will ground, but they'll take, if you're trying to do something during this specific particular eclipse, it's gonna take a little bit of time. All working with the earth element takes time for the manifestation. So don't rush it, and don't think that it's gonna come and snap in a day. You got to give it some time. But just be mindful with not over exaggerating, with not, you know, blowing things out of proportion unnecessarily, especially because Mars is a planet of passion and war. If you find yourself very angry in the next couple of days, or to the next week, because again, the eclipse energy lasts way longer than 2.5 days. Make sure you are taking, again, go back to your self-care, take some time for yourself, and not, you know, lose yourself in a lot of the emotion. Make sure that you are releasing some of that frustration that you are feeling. And Uranus will be in a trine with Pluto. Uranus is a planet of chaos, and Pluto is a planet of death and transformation. Both of these are generational planets. There's a lot of stuff happening socially right now that is incredibly just harmful, from genocide in multiple areas of the world. But you know, it's just so much shit going on right now, and it's really chaotic. It's honestly really chaotic. And because both of these are generational planets, and we're under eclipse energies, and they're in a trine, things will definitely be socially, things are not gonna like get at like the chaos that's happening. We are going through a very like a social transformation, especially for our generations. We're going through different transformations, where we're having to choose our values, where we're having to choose what we're wanting to stand for, where we're coming together to literally, you know, put in the work. A lot of it having to do with communication, social media, technology. There's a lot of like really standing up and like saying what needs to be said. There's a lot of that because folks want results. If you're like, oh my God, there's a protest, this is happening. Yeah, it's happening. Yes, it's happening. Collectively, the values of the collective are constantly being challenged, and it ultimately has to do with the amount of energy that is put in to, you know, what needs to happen within society at this time. And so trust and believe there will be chaos until change happens, because Uranus, it's all about evolution and revolution and unexpected change and chaos. So don't be surprised if you see certain things develop way more and things shifting really quickly. Don't be surprised if you see folks taking a little bit more control socially as well, because I see it in the chart. And also just don't be surprised of how as a generation we are being impacted, and we're also transforming and being different from the previous generations. So keep that in mind. But oracle cards, we have gentleness and new beginnings, because the newness is there, guarded and protected, and you created the situation and you have the power to change it. So like I said, and mind you, the card of Taurus came out in this reading, and there's a lot happening socially, and this is the card of conforming to society. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff happening. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I will see y'all in the next one. Have a very blessed day.